In video 1, we showed the components of the absorption refrigerator, being a Dometic or a Norcold type refrigerator. In this video, we're going to talk about troubleshooting techniques, and we're also going to introduce a problem that we had with this particular refrigerator and how we diagnosed it. Let's start out by talking about the symptoms of why this refrigerator wasn't working. And I'd like to add at this point in time that this refrigerator had been condemned by a repair shop saying that the cooling unit wasn't working, which, as you can see at this point, the cooling unit is working. So the symptoms were that the refrigerator was running between 40 and 50 degrees, which is too high for perishable food. The freezer was running about 25 to actually 35, so it couldn't keep food frozen properly. Now, let's tell you why we knew that the cooling unit had not failed, and that's because the boiler is running at its normal temperature, which is 187. Why is this important? It's because it'll only run at the proper temperature if the ammonia is getting into the boiler. The ammonia is the only thing that keeps the boiler from overheating. So the next symptom to discuss is that the absorber coil was not getting warm. When the boiler is warm, and about an hour after the boiler comes to normal temperature, the absorber coil will get warm. But on this refrigerator, when the internal temperature was high, the absorber coil also was staying cool, and what was happening was the ammonia was running as a liquid down to the holding tank, and the holding tank was actually getting warm. Now, the last part as the symptoms here is up here on the exit to the evaporator. This tube was actually freezing up all the way down to here, so we knew ammonia was passing through the evaporator and it wasn't actually pulling the heat out of the refrigerator. And we'll show you some pictures in a moment of why that was occurring. The last symptoms is that the refrigerator never turned off. It was always running, whether it was cold outside or not. Well, I'm going to show you why we took this cooling unit out, and again, you can see from the inside, this is called the evaporator, and it goes up this way into right here. And what was happening is when the refrigerator was running, what was happening was the freezer was not cooling, but yet we were getting ammonia down here, which was causing this to ice up down here. So the problem was that the freezer wasn't in thermal contact with this plate right here, so the freezer wasn't dropping in temperature. Look at that chintzy amount of thermal mastic they put on. Bad. So the other thing that was wrong was that because of that bad tape, we got moisture inside here, so we're going to let this sit overnight to let it dry out before we put it back together.